Turning to traffic now, I-10 was shut down again this afternoon for about 2 hours near the Louisiana-Mississippi state line as crews extinguished a grass fire in the median. Now, this comes after 11 hours of fire-related closures that forced traffic diversions in the same area on Friday night. And overnight, an arrest was made in connection with another fire that consumed nearly 200 acres Friday afternoon and evening in Washington Parish. With a statewide burn ban in effect across Louisiana until further notice, officials say it was an illegal, unattended campfire that sparked flames and destruction in Washington Parish. Authorities booked 34-year-old Kenneth Bobuff of Independence early Saturday morning, accusing him of criminal negligence and other violations for allegedly starting the blaze from his campsite off Fire Tower Road.
These things can be criminal and also civil.
Louisiana Agriculture and Forestry Commissioner Mike Strain says you don't have to make a spark to set off flames in these dry conditions.
Do not drive out into the field in your SUV because your catalytic converter can ignite the field. It's that hot.
Strain says the majority of the state is under drought conditions and record heat. This wildfire burned nearly 200 acres in one day, exposing Bobuff to possible jail time, fines, and restitution if charged and convicted.
This was a young plantation pine and probably going to be 100% loss of the value of that timber. That timber was probably 12 to 15 years old, so that's a significant amount of money per acre that the person that is responsible for that, will have to pay back. Restitution is a big part.
The heat is taking over the city, too. Tourists visiting New Orleans for the weekend say they are doing their best to cope.
I done ran through 4 bottles of water, and I still even make it down to the French quarters.
Just drinking a lot of water, beer every now and then.
But until we see significant rainfall, Strain says campfires and s'mores will have to wait.
We are praying that we get some rain soon. Normally this time of year you get some tropical storms. Tropical storms bring in soaking rains, and it goes all the way up into the Midwest. That has not happened.
Strain said no injuries were reported in the Washington Parish fire, but that a private plane attempting to get an aerial view of the destruction had a near miss with aircraft working to suppress the fire. He asked civilian pilots to stay clear of any fire lines so that his crew can work quickly and safely.